Many people worry about the end of the world. They think about things like wars and climate change. But what about something even bigger, something hidden underground? The Yellowstone supervolcano is a powerful force. It's a threat to America and the entire world. Let's learn more about this sleeping giant and what it could mean for all of us. We need to understand it. We need to prepare for it. The future of our planet may depend on it. Volcanoes are impressive, right? But a supervolcano? That's a whole different beast. Imagine a volcano erupting with a force thousands of times stronger than usual. That's a supervolcano. They are the most powerful explosions on Earth. Yellowstone in the United States is one of these supervolcanoes. It's erupted 3 times in the past, with the last one happening about 640,000 years ago. Don't let that long gap fool you though. Yellowstone is still active. Yellowstone's past eruptions were huge. They covered much of North America in ash. These eruptions happened millions of years ago, but they remind us of the power under Yellowstone. Scientists study these past events. They want to learn more about what might happen if Yellowstone erupts again. They look at the ash layers, the rocks, and the history of the area. It's like piecing together a giant, explosive puzzle. The good news is that supervolcanoes don't just erupt out of nowhere. There are warning signs we can look for. Before an eruption, the ground might start to rise. There might be more earthquakes. The water temperature and geysers could change. Scientists are always watching Yellowstone. They use special tools to track these signs. They measure the ground movement. They monitor the gases coming from the ground. It's like taking Yellowstone's temperature to see if it has a fever. The immediate aftermath of a Yellowstone eruption would be nothing short of catastrophic. The sheer force of the eruption would be felt for hundreds of miles, with the initial blast capable of leveling everything in its vicinity. Buildings, forests, and entire communities would be obliterated in an instant, leaving behind a barren, desolate landscape. If Yellowstone erupts, the immediate impact would be devastating. The eruption would send a column of ash and gas high into the atmosphere, creating a massive plume that could be seen from space. The sky would darken as the ash clouds spread, casting a shadow over the land below. Imagine, if you will, a giant explosion, sending hot rocks and gas miles into the air. The force of the blast would be equivalent to thousands of atomic bombs, releasing an unimaginable amount of energy. The ground would shake violently, and the sound of the eruption would be heard for hundreds of miles. This terrifying phenomenon is known as a pyroclastic flow, and it would obliterate everything in its path. These fast-moving currents of hot gas and volcanic matter can reach speeds of up to 700 kilometers per hour, incinerating anything in their way. The heat alone would be enough to cause severe burns and ignite fires, adding to the destruction. And then, there's the ash. Volcanic ash is not like the soft, fluffy ash from a campfire. It's made up of tiny, jagged particles of rock and glass, which can cause serious damage to the lungs if inhaled. The ash would blanket the landscape, covering everything in a thick layer of gray. A massive plume of ash would rise into the atmosphere, spreading out for hundreds of miles. This ash cloud would disrupt air travel, grounding flights and causing chaos in the skies. The ash would also have a significant impact on the climate, potentially leading to a volcanic winter. This ash would block out the sun, making it dark like night. The temperature would drop, and the lack of sunlight would affect plant growth, leading to food shortages. The ash would also contaminate water supplies, making it difficult to find clean drinking water. Breathing would become incredibly difficult, and the ash would accumulate on buildings, potentially causing them to collapse. The weight of the ash could cause roofs to cave in, leading to further destruction and loss of life. The aftermath of such an eruption would be a humanitarian crisis, with thousands of people displaced and in need of aid. Section 6. The lingering cloud, ash, and its devastating effects. When we think of volcanic eruptions, we often imagine the dramatic explosion, the flowing lava, and the immediate destruction. However, one of the most insidious and far-reaching consequences of such an event is the ash that is ejected into the atmosphere. This ash, composed of tiny fragments of volcanic glass, minerals, and rock, can travel vast distances and have devastating effects on the environment and human life. The ash from a Yellowstone eruption would be a major problem. It would cover everything. Imagine waking up to find your entire world blanketed in a thick layer of ash. This isn't just a light dusting that can be easily swept away. It's a heavy, suffocating layer that can be several inches deep, or even more in some areas. Imagine a thick blanket of ash covering your car, making it impossible to drive. The weight of the ash can be so immense that it can cause roofs to collapse, especially if it becomes wet and compacted. This isn't just a minor inconvenience, it's a serious hazard that can lead to significant property damage and even loss of life. Your house, your neighborhood, everything would be affected. The ash would infiltrate every nook and cranny, making it difficult to clean and maintain a safe living environment. The fine particles can clog ventilation systems, damage electronics, and contaminate food and water supplies. This ash is heavy and can make it hard to breathe. The tiny particles can cause respiratory problems, especially for those with pre-existing conditions like asthma or bronchitis. Wearing masks would become a necessity, not just to protect against the ash, but also to prevent inhaling harmful substances that can lead to long-term health issues. The ash would also cause problems for planes and cars. Air travel would be severely disrupted as ash clouds can damage aircraft engines and reduce visibility. Roads would become treacherous, with the ash making surfaces slippery and reducing traction. Emergency services would struggle to respond to crises, further exacerbating the situation. It would pollute water supplies. Ash can contaminate rivers, lakes, and reservoirs, making the water unsafe to drink. This would lead to a scarcity of clean water, affecting not just humans but also wildlife and agriculture. The ecological impact would be profound, disrupting entire ecosystems and leading to long-term environmental damage. It would damage crops and make it difficult to grow food. The ash can smother plants, blocking sunlight and preventing photosynthesis. Soil quality would deteriorate, making it less fertile and more challenging to cultivate crops. This would lead to food shortages and increased prices, affecting economies and livelihoods. The impact on our infrastructure and our ability to function would be immense. Buildings, roads, and utilities would all suffer damage, leading to costly repairs and long-term disruptions. The economic toll would be staggering, with businesses struggling to operate and communities facing prolonged recovery periods. The ash from a volcanic eruption is not just a fleeting nuisance, it's a catastrophic event with far-reaching consequences that can alter lives and landscapes for years to come. Section 7. A global catastrophe reaching far beyond America. While the most severe damage would be in North America, a Yellowstone eruption would affect the entire world. The ash and gases released into the atmosphere would cause global cooling. Temperatures could drop, leading to shorter growing seasons and potential food shortages. The economic impact would also be global. Trade routes could be disrupted, the cost of food and other essential goods could skyrocket. It would be a crisis unlike anything we've ever seen. Section 8. Mitigating the threat. Can we stop the unstoppable? Scientists are always looking for ways to mitigate the threat of a Yellowstone eruption. Some have suggested trying to cool the magma chamber beneath Yellowstone, but this is a massive undertaking with unknown risks. The reality is, we can't completely stop a supervolcano from erupting. The best we can do is monitor it closely, understand the risks, and be prepared. Section 9. Preparedness, our best defense. In this section we will explore the importance of being prepared for natural disasters, particularly focusing on the potential threat of a Yellowstone eruption. While it may seem like a distant possibility, the steps we take today can make a significant difference in our safety and well-being. While the thought of a Yellowstone eruption is scary, it's crucial to understand the science behind it. Yellowstone is a supervolcano, and its eruptions are rare but can have widespread impacts. Scientists continuously monitor the area for any signs of activity, providing us with valuable data and early warnings. It's important to remember that it's not an immediate threat. The last major eruption occurred over 640,000 years ago, and while minor activity happens, a catastrophic event is unlikely in our lifetime. However, understanding the risks and being prepared can help us respond effectively if the situation changes. The chances of it happening in our lifetime are very low, but natural disasters, in general, are unpredictable. From earthquakes to hurricanes, being prepared is our best defense against any emergency. This mindset of preparedness can be applied to various scenarios, ensuring we are ready for whatever comes our way. However, that doesn't mean we shouldn't be prepared. Taking proactive steps can significantly reduce the impact of any disaster. Start by discussing emergency plans with your family. Identify safe spots in your home, establish a meeting point, and ensure everyone knows what to do in different situations. We can all take steps to be ready for any natural disaster, including a volcanic eruption. Attend local workshops on disaster preparedness and learn from experts about the best practices. Equip yourself with knowledge and skills that can be life-saving in critical moments. This includes having an emergency plan, a disaster supply kit, and knowing how to use it. Your kit should contain essentials like water, non-perishable food, medications, and important documents. Regularly check and update your kit to ensure everything is in working order. Staying informed about potential hazards in our area is also crucial. Sign up for local alerts and warnings, and stay connected with community resources. Participate in neighborhood meetings and engage with local authorities to stay updated on any developments. By being prepared, we can face the future with knowledge and resilience. Preparedness is not just about having supplies, it's about having a plan, staying informed, and being ready to act. Together, we can build a safer and more resilient community, ready to tackle any challenge that comes our way.